Welcoming guys into my updated mock draft. Now, as you've seen on the channel, we're gonna get a lot of the rest of this month and going into obviously next month. We're gonna have heavily related draft content going on. So I'm gonna do a lot more draft picks, scout reports, all of that good stuff going on because then we're only a month away from the draft, and I'm slowly getting around to watching, especially getting around to watching some of these guys now. So my rank, where I'm putting these guys in my mock draft, I'm putting where I'm going to put people in my mock draft. It's going to be different to everybody else's. I will have my mock draft in the description box. But we're only going to do round one this time because I haven't had time to really do like a full 3-round draft mock draft. But again, at some point I will get around to doing like a whole 1 to 3 mock draft at some point if I get a chance. Again, I think everybody's pick on the board is going to be similar to mine. I noticed Fernando Mendoza coming in to the Raiders. The Raiders today, I'm recording this on a Friday night. Earlier this afternoon, the Raiders did release Geno Smith, so instantly you know that ultimately the Raiders are going for a quarterback. So Fernando Mendoza at 1. My opinion is go look to Fernando Mendoza because you're entering a dumpster fire in Vegas. But let's see what happens. You got a new head coach. You still got the GM that hired Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's not there anymore. Chip Kelly's not there anymore. You've got a new head coach, Kiffberg, former offensive coordinator to the Seahawks. So good luck to Fernando Mendoza. Can he be the savior for this dumpster fire? I don't think so under Mark Davis. Moving on to the second pick, I didn't go for a quarterback this time because again Dante Moore's not in the draft this time. He's withdrawn himself from the draft. He's going to go in next year. He got another year in college, which also could fuck him up in the long term. But for this, I've gone for Arvell Reese. Now you look at the edge rushing class. It's again I'm going through it slowly, and I think so far the two best edge rushers in this draft class are Rueben, Bain Jr. and Arvell Reese. I think Arvell Reese, you can look at him, and especially in a couple of years, if he's under the right defensive coordinator, and if he's under the right defensive coordinator, and he has a good team around him, I could see him definitely going to be probably a Pro Bowl or really having a really good career. In my opinion, the ceiling is so high for both of these guys, Rueben, Bain Jr. and Arvell Reese. But I've got Arvell Reese going into the Jets. Again, especially if Faulk's going to stay for 2026, then they need a lot of help. They need a quarterback, but I don't see them taking a quarterback. I don't see them taking a quarterback in the first round. So I've gone for a defensive-minded addition here with Arvell Reese from Ohio. You need a lot of work, but ultimately, if you start with a defense, at least you're starting somewhere. Sell the team, Woody. And then the Titans, I'm going to touch on them right now. Titans are at 3 currently. I know recently David Montgomery's been traded away to the Texans and such. I'm keeping it as it is currently right now. The Titans need a lot of work, especially when you've got Robert Saleh as your defensive-minded head coach. You need to beef up that defense. The offensive line needs a lot of work. Left tackle, right tackle. You need a wide receiver, tight end. But for me, I've in this slot for the Titans, they need weapons for Cam Ward because I don't see them going for a quarterback in this draft class. Stick with Cam Ward because there is potential there, and we saw that with last year when this time last year when the Patriots were building around the Drake May. You see where the Patriots what happened to the Patriots last year? They actually built around the young quarterback and actually got to a Super Bowl. And I'm going for Carnell Tate here, wide receiver from Ohio. Moving on here again, the Browns, Rueben Bain Jr., edge from Ohio. Again, you need to look at that. You need to at some point address the replacement and the heir apparent that's going to be who's going to replace Myles Garrett. He's 34, 35 now. He's had a Hall of Fame career, even though that he's in a dumpster fire of an organization like the Browns. He's had such a good career. But you need to kind of think about life after him, and getting Rueben Bain Jr. coming in, I think is a good start from Miami. For the Lions, I will just touch on the Lions real quick. We do need basically defensive cover, so my pick is defensive lineman David Bailey, Ohio State. We just need somebody to beef up that defense, and if David Bailey or Rueben Bain Jr. or whoever comes on the board who's a defensive-minded player, just get him on, because again, we need bodies in numbers. We need to beef up that defense. That defense cannot be going into 2026 with a shit defense. We've done that in 2024, 2025. I do not want to go into 2026 and we do not have the right defense. I don't want no excuses for 2026. Oh, the reason why the Lions didn't do so well in 2026 was because the fucking defense was bad or the offensive line was bad. The two biggest problems we had in 2025 was the defense was shit, apart from Aiden Hutchinson, and the offensive line stunk. Let's be real. Yeah, I thought we didn't do a lot in the offensive line. I think we need a left tackle and a right tackle, and I think we need a D-line coach to help in that position as well. But especially we need somebody on the edge. We need an edge rusher. There's with rumors of Max Crosby coming in, or maybe we're going to go for Max Crosby and trade for him. I wouldn't mind him coming in. Again, we need bodies and numbers. And again, I know he's saying, oh, Max Crosby stunk last year. I understand that, but again, if he's in a new environment, maybe with a new coaching system, maybe we can get the best out of him. Because again, Max Crosby, again, he's 29 now, but again, he's still an elite level edge rusher in my opinion. He's kind of like a Myles Garrett, like he's in a shit team like the Raiders, but again, I think if he was in somewhere else, he wouldn't get appreciated as much. But I wouldn't mind the Max Crosby coming in. But again, like I've said, we need defensive cover, so I'll go with David Bailey from Ohio State. And then kind of moving on to like other additions here, like the 49ers. I've got 49ers taking Isaiah World, offensive tackle from Oregon. I think they need to beef up that offensive line. Too many times that Brock Purdy or Matt Jones were getting turned over, and they didn't have the best of season offensively, to be honest. Especially like Deebo Samuel departed, Brandon Ayuk was out of commission. They especially need somebody on the offensive line, because Brock Purdy was out for most of the for a bit of the season. Then you was thinking about Matt Jones for the rest of it. But yeah, they need to beef up that offensive line. So I've gone for Isaiah Ward. And then like Denver, for them I've gone for Trevor Gooseberry. Very raw, very he's a raw talent, and I talked about it a couple of days ago. But Trevor Gooseberry, left tackle from Texas, I think again he's another addition that would be great for a future for this Denver team. So I've got him going there. For the Commanders, their defense again, especially when you've got a defensive-minded head coach like Dan Quinn, you need to beef up that defense. And I think bringing in Caleb Downs at safety, I think is a good start. Cincinnati, again, I'm going to say what I've said before. Again, this has to be Zach Taylor's last season as the Bengals head coach, because again, how many times are you going to have a free pass? Because again, Zach Taylor got us to a Super Bowl, guys. But again, it was Joe Mixon, it was Jamar Chase, it was Joe Burrow. Offensive line stinks. You need to definitely work on the offensive line, and you definitely need to address the defense. So for the Bengals, I've gone for Keldric Faulk, defensive lineman from Auburn. And then the last one I'll talk about before I end the video, I'm going to talk about the Cardinals. Now, earlier in the week, Kyler Murray was released. He was told he's not coming back. They don't want his ass in Arizona anymore. They've had 5 years of this shit. Not going to have a 6th. So Kyler Murray was released, and then for me, I know he's probably drafted way too high, but when I come back in a few weeks, I think you're gonna. But I've gone for I'm gonna go for Ty Simpson, quarterback from Alabama. Yeah, there's a lot of flaws in his game. Like again, his lack of arm movement, his lack of the arm talent. I understand that, but the quarterback class isn't the best. And again, you know, are you again? Who would you go for? Maybe like a Geno Smith. Maybe if you're the Cardinals, you definitely need to look at quarterback though. You need to go. You cannot be going into. You need to go into this draft. Hopefully, maybe looking for a quarterback or getting one in fantasy. But for the Cardinals right here, I have them go for Ty Simpson from Alabama. I know he has like really poor arm talent and accuracy problems, but yeah, I've got him going there. They need a quarterback. And look, if they can have him for a year, and then maybe if they don't feel like Ty Simpson's the guy, well, don't go for Ty Simpson. Maybe go for somebody else later on. Or maybe you could go for like an Aaron Rodgers or somebody like that. But they need to definitely address the quarterback position. And basically beef up the offensive line. And get some weapons on wide receiver, tight end. Yeah. But overall, you can read the whole kind of description here. Again, for the Giants, I have them taking Elijah Stower, tight end from Vanderbilt. They need weapons for Jackson Dart, and again, if he's going to be the guy, and you know you're hoping you're having your exit in the Jackson Dart basket with John Harbaugh. Good luck with trying to have John Harbaugh try to develop Jackson Dart, because of what happened the last couple of years in Baltimore. But yeah, I've got them taking Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt, tight end. But yeah, you can read it all down there in the description box below, guys. I'll have a scout report up tomorrow. And hype up the video, guys. Woo! Hype up the video. Woo!